I'm actually going to go to the side of Winstrike. Are you? I know you're kind of saying you like Navi's draft. Are you going to stick with that?
I'm kind of always on board with the Nature's Prophet. I feel like I agree with you that they've got rougher team fight. A nice little bait there coming from General. I think they might be thinking that there might be a mid lane, but instead they placed it over to the right side and most never going to check. Get objectives at a crazy rate on Navi. That's the thing, right? So
30 seconds.
I feel like they've got enough damage that they can win team fights, even though they're lacking in that big like AoE lockdown effect that you might be looking for.
It's definitely the same for Dire as well in that regard, like how you're able to take objectives off the like Exo, Deso eventually. But I guess Navi earlier with how, yeah, that's right. I guess Navi earlier are able to take these towers at a faster rate, like so. I really think it has to be the same as game one where Navi have like a really, really early net worth lead, and well, getting a first blood on Seneca is definitely going to enable that. Now the question of who gets the kill, and he will find it.
First blood is a nice.
Dancy's even got the sentry available if he wants to place it down. Maybe. Nope. The tips to Seneca by Navi couldn't have been any more fitting.
Another thing as well is that I'm kind of... Ooh, I don't hate this. They bring the Wraith King down bottom. So what I wanted to bring up in the draft was the fact that I think picking a Wraith King into a Nature's Prophet Tusk side lane is going to be really rough, considering he doesn't have the greatest armor. But putting him down bottom, I really don't mind at all.
And he even went for that... just the Ring of Protection, the casual Ring of Protection, to make sure that even if they do go for a lane swap here in Navi, he's going to be in a relatively fine position. Just Prophet with the Wraith Band as well, actually. So just wanting that extra attack speed, the real value that you get super early on, not wanting to put a little bit more emphasis into the harass in terms of the minus armor, just wanting to make sure you can secure the creeps and even withstand a few of those God's Rebukes coming your way. I mean, this is one of those games as well where you... bring your attention over to that, then you just use the IO Leshrac to take another tower, right? So maybe the strategy for Navi is you don't take team fights, you just play this like rat style of Dota.
Another kill? D2 and Solo, very nicely done. It's going to be Solo this time securing it. But I mean, this is Winstrike saying like, all right, we're happy with how the lanes are situated. We put the Wraith King bottom, we put the Mars top, but obviously just a bit of a misstep there from the Hawk.
Is that 2 kills now? No, Solo got that one for the bottom side. But Toon, of course, wanted to pick up the first blood. So he's having a pretty nice start to the game. I think that's Boots coming out, and yeah, they just want to be constantly trading harass. Of course, pairing together with an IO with the Boots of Speed is always going to be a fantastic way to get a lot of harass, even in this like 3 melee lane.
Looks like at least the creep equilibrium is going to be relatively solid, but I mean, you see that, yeah, V2 and Solo can just kind of trade right clicks, knowing that they have a ridiculous amount of sustain already with the headdress picked up. So bottom's looking like a pretty good start for Navi at the moment. What do we feel about mid though, as terms to who would be a little bit more favored between the Death Prophet and the Leshrac?
I'd say DP is just in general favored because of the Spirit Scything. You're able to trade so much more effectively. And, you know, even just spam out the Crypt Swarm. It doesn't cost anywhere near as much mana as a lot of Leshrac spells once he levels them up. So I think you're going to be in an advantageous position there.
I thought it was actually the other way around, just because whenever like DP starts to run at you, it's a very narrow path mid. No one can just drop the Split Earth and then you kind of just stop the attempt. And often into like the range matchups, we see like a 2-0-2 build to help with your last sitting and also kind of some harassment into the range zero.
I'd say that for me personally, in the laning stage, I prefer the Death Prophet, but in terms of what you're able to provide consistently, once you hit up onto that, let's say, level 7 timing.
No. Okay. Oh, he still got the tether. Keep going, sir.
level 7 timing, it's going to favor the Leshrac, right? Because you're paired together with an IO. Wraith King, not Wraith King, Sven eventually is going to look to rotate through to the jungle and start to farm up some of those stacks with his Greater Cleave. And then you've just got an IO buffing up a Leshrac, not just for the HP, but for the mana components as well. So you can just keep running at people, keep popping that Diabolic Edict, and take a lot more map control away. Yeah, whereas for Death Prophet, like, you are very reliant on converting these early objectives with the Exo. And if you're unable to do so, we see this hero can really fall off compared to someone like a Lesh, where, like you said, you farm really well, you're amped by the IO, and you don't have a big cooldown in your Edict, which is your tower pressures. Notice top lane, a bit of trouble here. Tag team is level 2, so we're seeing the damage continue to rack up with the general in a loyal dance. This lane, of course, it's still not going too great for the Wraith King. He's nearly 1,000 net worth behind, but it becomes easier. You can actually start to stand and man fight and go for some of these trades against the IO and Sven now that you've got the Helm of Iron Will. The extra 6 armor, the HP regen. It's just really solid from being able to allows, you know, Seneko to have the confidence to move away to the triangle, start to build up a few of these stacks for his team, and not run the risk of Dahak just straight up dying.
Radiant's middle
we're 5 minutes into the start of the game. Yeah, how are you feeling like Winstrike? Are they happy with the lane swap, or do you feel like they are probably regretting it at this stage? I mean, yes, they're regretting it. He's 1,000 behind. I mean, to be fair, it's not like they could really have changed much. And again, like you said before, if they went for just the standard Wraith King up on the top lane, he would have been running into this Nature's Prophet, consistently harassing him out. Even just like Seneko being paired together with it, right? And against a Nature's Prophet, you don't want to lane against that because you've got the Treants. Battery Assault is almost worthless against a Nature's Prophet. Or at least any Nature's Prophet that has like even a tiny amount of micro skills. It's already looking like a good start for NAVI. This first kind of, what, 6 minutes so far? So 3 kills, 1,000 net worth lead, and a lot of stacks continuing to be made as well. You got a triple at the Ancients, double at the Hard. It'll be a lot of farm for V2 to be able to fall back and get. He hasn't put any points into the Greater Cleave just yet, though. Just wanting to... Oh, he's got 2 skill points handy. Just wanting to have as much potential to go for the kills on Dahak if there's the open window to do so. They've also been building up some stacks, though, on Winstrike's side, more so around the hard camps, realizing that they don't really have great ancient-taking heroes at this point of the game. With the Invis, they're going to go for a kill here on V2 with the Exo. So if he just TP's out now with the Wraith Fire Blast already used, and yep, he's going to go for it. The damage... not enough. Great recognition, and you know, simultaneously it's going to be no one in solo bringing down Seneko. And it's a bounty rune on top with a little bit of cherry. Got the Exo. They might think they can fight this. Solo. Maybe they just go to the northern side instead. Exo got quarter duration left. Shard's not going to give no one an opportunity to reset away from the Death Prophet, and now Lau just melts to a second target, and well, they'll turn their attention over to Solo as well. This is not what you want to do. Feeding the beast into the Death Prophet, giving him a triple kill at 7 minutes in. Don't know how much of that camp they ended up getting on the Leshrac, right? It was just the 1 point into the Pulse Nova, so it's not the greatest amount to be able to instantly take it out, but maybe he only started to get half of it, and the Exorcism was what cleaned up the remainder. Definitely looking a little bit grim for Winstrike, considering. I mean, you were 4-0 one stage. No one sweeps over, takes away the stack, but you know, Lau with that first Exo gets really good usage out of it. You're like, oh no, you waste it, Sven TP's out, all of a sudden now you're not being able to convert early. It's the Hawk down bottom. Still got a skill point available. Probably going to force him to level up the reincarnation. He's really waiting. Yeah, not able to play around with the back of it, but now TP rotations coming into play as V2. He's turned up with a curse. So Solo's nearby as well, but it's not going to matter with Notice dropping down the first arena of the game. All the circle abilities to make sure that Sven is pinned to a location. a bit cautious now. Aloha Dance. Oh, what a shot. Blocks off the escape avenue. And no one as well. And they're going to turn to Lyle. A little bit more difficult of a kill. Looks like they're happy with bruises. Maybe if they knew how much damage a Wraith nature would have done, they would have stuck around.
General's doing a good job, though, consistently keeping this pressure up on the top side. Again, a Wraith King doesn't do a good job at dealing with these treants, so you're going to get a lot of free damage pumped in onto this tower. And it's not like they've got an offlane hero that's great at dealing with the skeletons either, but you just see V2 makes his rotation up towards the top side. He's got the Greater Cleave, got the Leshrac as well with the Pulse Nova, so tons of easy ways to be able to deal with that. Our Dance is even looking to soak up some of the experience.
Like this, just running the Hawk down. You still got a couple of extra heroes trailing through the outpost, and the Hawk's finally going to get a TP. So got the reincarnation to play with, but no one's got plenty of mana as well in the arsenal. Exceptional cogs though locks the Leshrac in a position where Lark can just start to rack up the damage. And I mean, we saw what the Death Prophet could do previously with the Exo, and it might just be another identical fight. At least a nice relocate out to safety. I mean, you're still going to come back and end up falling to the Death Prophet and the Dark Willow standing nearby. So, really? TP is still on cooldown, so they should be able to chase solo. It's going to be a long chase unless it just runs into the Bramble. Unfortunately, great placement from Force Major. But I guess it's, you know, giving space. He's going to go down, right? No way he tries to duke this one through. TV in 10 seconds. Heather up at a couple as well, please. Okay. That would have been a really sick play if he made it out.
It was a nice cogs to be able to take out no one at the start of that, but it also kind of condemned the Wraith King to death as well, so not really what you want. Dahak has, to be realistic, like a pitiful amount of net worth compared to a lot of the other cores in this game, and he's finally finished up the armlet, but it just feels like it's going to be a while until you have any kind of impact this game. It's going to nearly be entirely on the back of Lyle, who again is having a very solid game, 0 deaths so far, but you can only make plays around that exorcism, so it just makes things so challenging for him. You know, he's posturing around this mid lane, but you just can't do anything.
Radiant support's a very high level as well. Toss level 7. Actually, I guess the Clockwork is as well, so Winstrike pretty equal.
Again, I really feel that they can't do much of anything. I mean, notice they're pinging him out. They're saying, well, the Mars is bottom. We feel like we can push this tower. Maybe they were considering Seneko going for a hookshot here onto the back lines instantly with a TP from the Mars, but no. I mean, it's a kill onto Aloha Dance, but the tower still goes down. So, like, you're totally okay with that.
Yeah, and I mean, you
continues to farm.
Exactly. I mean, he's working towards his BKB, about to have a second component completed, and Solo's also going to try and stack up the Ancients and the Hard Camp. So, you know, great timing. Get the tower, and also back in time to enable your Sven even more. So, definitely how this game needs to be looking for Navi at the moment. I mean, they are going to hit a really, really big item timing. You know, BKB, Orchid coming out. Lesh is going to have Internal Shroud. I'm even looking... The stars are aligning for Navi, but what's kind of that big thing for Dire? What's the timing that they can kind of come back with?
Oh, it's hard to say for the Wraith King in particular. Like, he's almost got his phase boots, you know? Like, it feels like very negligible, but every little thing is just worth so much for this Wraith King. And, I mean, for me, maybe level 12 on DP, maybe the BKB in coordination with that, but you're going to have the Orchid up on General so much sooner. So,
nice fight from Seneko.
If he doesn't die.
It's going to continue to delay the Orchid here. And let's see if they connect to mid and try and shut this lane out and get an objective off the back of that now. Already we see a lot of
Lyle would be hesitant though. Like, he doesn't want to pop the exorcism.
Yeah,
but
true.
The opportunity is there to be able to do it. You know, your heroes are all around this side of the map. You're super easily able to connect in onto this tower if you want to.
Radiant's bottom
The value of the level 12 is just so appealing.
I guess this is a
Pretty
scary
safe.
thing now as well. Like, if you pop EXO and don't get enough value out of it, NAVI would just move into Roche and they won't really mind at all. So, there we go. EXO popped. Ward on the backline as well, so that they are set up for this fight that if it does break out, they're going to be in a position to take it. It's like Radiant, they don't really care though. They're just happy trading across the map.
Yep, nice micro though from General's Treants, making sure that these lane creeps are going to be held back. Trying to soak up as much of that damage. So honestly, this is not value that you're getting out of this exorcism. This opens up a huge window for NAVI.
They are moving top though. It's with the blink reveal. What a arena! Clipping to 3, but the snowball as well gives them at least some breathing room. Terrorize though holding them back. They're just bouncing up against the coast. He's going to look to buy back to rejoin the fight, but they've lost the Tusk as well. But it looks like it doesn't matter. Without the Exo, they can't stand their ground. As no one is such a threat at this stage of the game. Amped up from the Ire, Eternal Shroud as well. There's no way you're going through the Disco Pony.
No one all the way back to base with the relocate. Just wanted to refresh his mana. There's even a regen rune on the top side of the river that I'm sure will be happy to pick up. Give that one over to the IO, you never know. But yeah, top side of the map, it doesn't feel like they can defend against another push. They're going to look to smoke. Is that under a ward?
I don't believe so. Back to half.
Top tower is under attack.
Look at a Quelling Blade, so General not really able to find that catch, but
Still got what they wanted.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
let's see now.
And that is BKB, I believe, as well on Sven.
Do you honestly just take Outpost and go into Roche? Because you know you still got a window with Exo on cooldown.
It feels rough without the God Strength, to be perfectly honest. I think they're lacking a little bit in damage. Maybe if General had something like Solar Crest or was starting to build towards an AC.
So Neko again. Solo did fight back previously, so great for quite some time. I think previously Seneko tipped Solo for that buyback, and let's see if we can get a little bit of extra value out of that previous tip. So
Radiant's middle tower
End up getting that tower. 10 seconds away from the exorcism. So again, it's just this seesaw going back and forth, you know.
I'm in trouble. It's only Furion really nearby. Gonna pop once again the Terrorize along with the Arena combination. And with just 2 of the heroes, that's gonna be enough damage to get a real big kill on no one. Also across the map, Seneko, we're gonna battle it out against the Aloha Dance support, but of course it's unfair with an extra +1 showing up globally thanks to General. Back underway here. So, I mean, 2,000 net worth lead for NAVI really hasn't been continuing to grow. In fact, it's actually the deficit is being cut. Even Winstrike with the experience advantage and even the probability slightly favoring them as well. But it really feels like we're setting ourselves up for an action-packed mid-game.
And Vatoon, he's going into a Blink Dagger next. Don't hate it. I mean, he's got his BKB. His damage is basically just coming from that Echo Saber and the God Strength, of course. And you can even start to use some of General's Treants to be the ones scouting out before you're going to look for any of these super deep blinks. Because right now, NAVI, their map looks kind of dark, so it's going to be hard for them to make any kind of reliable moves. They get this Observer Ward down, I suppose, right after they took the Tier 1 tower mid. Placed it behind there, so they're lucky they might catch out a few of these smokes that are going to be coming forward in the near future.
They got 2 really deep wards from Winstrike as well, like another one by the triangle.
Yeah,
nice information.
Toon's very close to his Blink Dagger, so expect for them to be smoking quite soon on NAVI.
It's actually Winstrike though, they're looking to take the fight. They're just going to continue to jump on over as well, and Aloha Dance just going to have to stand out on the skirts and watch. Another quick and easy pick off on no one. I mean, even though he did go for the Eternal Shroud, we're seeing still able to blow him up when Solo's also not in a position to offer some assistance. Even V2 is... Oh, nice blink.
But, to be fair, it's still pretty early into the game. 18 minutes. So that death on no one isn't the worst. Like, he's going to be up in 15 seconds, and you've still got a minute until Arena of Blood's available. So doing a good job on Noticed here, making sure to prioritize pushing out this lane as much as possible and make someone defend this bottom side of the map. because it makes moves like this very obvious if no one's going to come to defend. And seeing the TP come through from the Leshrac, the fact that he's coming through there and not defending the bottom lane means that they're going for an attack.
Yeah, V2 jumping in. The Death Prophet showed in the lane up top, so they're well aware that they don't have this big X factor that has been through these previous fights. So V2 easily cutting 2 heroes down. I think you want to get a little bit more out of this though. There's still 2 supports and yeah, they're instantly recognizing that. They're going to try and swing to Roche, but Winstrike, they also read this.
Yeah, the rocket immediately came out. Buyback coming through from Snako there. So again, it's still this roller coaster though, right? Like now you don't have God Strength, now you have Arena, you know? Like it's just kind of constantly be going back and forth, and it's just a matter of who has the buybacks to be able to make the most out of their situation. Exorcism going to be popped here by Lyle as well. I don't think the other damage with the Hark here. Even the Desolator's not going to be enough, and they scout it out with the Treants coming in here.
Can you have exceptional wards nearby?
Can take this as Navi.
Yeah, I don't think so either. They can't team fight, and Notice has been a really big issue with these arenas. I mean, encompassing multiple heroes, and we've seen that combo come out from the Dark Willow as well. So this is big. Giving the Aegis over to Lol. The Hawk is still very far behind in net worth, but at least maybe having the Aegis gives you a little bit of time to potentially work towards that next item.
Look at the vision around where the Roche pit was. They have it like a rhombus of vision around that sort of area. It's crazy.
It's like Dire up top, Radiant kind of towards the right side of the map. Yeah, both sides have kind of, like you said, a rhombus around this area. Actually, Radiant do have 4 wards nearby.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
You don't really see that.
They just really want vision on that mid lane, you know?
Bottom lane. Bottom fight as well. You know, Exo's on cooldown. What's made a really solid position for himself though.
Dire's bottom tower.
And it's going to connect with the smoke pops as well, so the Dark Willow is giving them the information, and you're more than happy with just losing the Dark Willow. Gonna make him waste his time.
TP though.
Never cancel that one. Gonna make sure the rest of the team gets away though. I'm just gonna try and TP behind. Saxonako and Lol. Not gonna be any stragglers that will be caught out, so very nice read from Winstrike.
And it's not like there's anything that they can take on the top side of the map, right? There's no tier 2 tower top, there's no Roshan. So normally the fact that Dahak TPs to this bottom side of the map, I would be like, oh no, what are you doing?
Relocate coming in, but it's not really going to be fast enough to keep Aloha Dance alive, but they still want to take the ball though. The God Strength on V2, and he's going to cut down Seneko. So there's a dieback in the clockwork, and now they can look over to the Mars as well. Exceptional placement with the arena is going to give an opportunity for the blink back up in a couple of seconds. Oh, the stun? No, not yet. Yeah, this is some pretty good map movement coming through from Winstrike, realizing that when you've got nothing to lose on the top side of the map, it doesn't matter that you TP away from it. You know, like being one man down, if you're able to make pickoffs like that happen onto the relatively squishy heroes, it just allows you to be so much more efficient than your enemy team. Major.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
Nick
attack.
Vision. Radiant gonna actually look to smoke again with the God Strength on cooldown. This is a stage where they've got to be pretty cautious because Dire are actually gonna look to fight. You know, it's kind of both sides are playing off the back of the cooldown, just to, the ping pong back and forth to who's feeling like they have a little bit more of a power spy.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Whoever's making the calls on Winstrike, there's a lot of respect from the entire team for that. Noticed is about 100 gold away from his BKB, and he just walked past a 3 ogre camp. Realizing that, look, they have been showing for quite a while on NAVI. We can't even spare a second. Everyone get back immediately. So eventually he's going to come back once they do show on the top side of the map, but it just goes to show that level of respect coming through from him to the rest of the team. It will be, finally, the BKB completed for him. Make sure that you're making these movements around as well. I mean, it's right underneath all this vision, though, so they see the fact that the courier would have just delivered something, and yet they're immediately pinging back on NAVI to make sure that they're getting out of the area.
Les just completed the Bloodstone as well, so this is going to be really scary. I mean, his damage amp getting increased. They're still
One of
actually
those.
sticking around.
One of the rhombus wards being removed.
Oh. An extra ward though for Navi, kind of more defensively placed though this time.
What do you reckon about the Hawk's item build? Like, he's gone for the AC, and I like it just because you need to keep this Quelling Blade available. You know, you're going for one of these larger items that isn't going to take up a few of your item slots.
I think also the heavy physical damage that Radiant are going to do. I mean, you got Tag Team's Amp, the Nature's Prophet's pretty physical. You got the Sven as well. And, I mean, Death Prophet is someone who doesn't have the greatest armor. You see, he has itemized into the plate mail, and he's also got the Essence. Actually, no, apologies. So it's definitely not just for him. It's also going to buff up the rest of his team, too.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Hey, so they just got some wrap plays here. There was a relocate by
I think it
Sol
was
and
for the
Vitrude.
DD, I think.
Dire's bottom tower
Makes
is
more
under
sense.
attack.
Yes, I mean, it'd be lovely if they had a bottle. Unfortunately, Leshrac was not able to give that one over. So how long we got on Aegis still? Yeah, 10 seconds. So it looks like Dire not really going to get too much out of it. And the net worth lead is actually continuing to go back up now for NAVI. There was a stage in this game where your Winstrike, they were lowering the deficit, but all of a sudden NAVI, even though they gave up the Aegis, looks like they still were very content with what they got out of the map.
It's almost always going to increase at a faster rate on Navi, at least until the Wraith King hits on to like level 20 and he gets a cleave to be able to combat with what this Wraith King has. And speaking of things that are coming up very shortly, it's almost a Silver Edge completed here for Vitrude. So he's going to have a lot of that burst potential that you need against the likes of these heroes like the Dark Willow and the Death Prophet to be able to take them out. Quite have his level 3 ultimate, but I think that's going to be plenty of damage.
Hey, John. Going to the wrong neighborhood, my friend. Should probably reveal there's a ward nearby. And Navi going to use this opportunity just to continue to take a little bit of map control back away, getting the outpost. And so if there's any jungle camps up top, trying to see what we're really waiting for next. I mean, both sides have got their ultimates ready. You did say there were a couple of items I guess we're waiting for. Silver's Edge on Sven, but for Dire, like, you're still wanting the AC. You're super close, I think, to the Shivas on Lol.
Leshrac just picked up a casual plate mail just to be able to withstand from a lot of that right-click damage coming out.
Are they going to make this a 10? Alright, Lark controls
That's
that
what I'm
with the
talking
BKB, but let's see how much damage they can still do with the physical. But he's back up to full, but he doesn't have the mana for the ultimate, though. Off the clockwork, the arena's not really holding back V-turn as well. So Sol's going to offer. Oh, what a speed! Breaks it, tether. My god, notice you player! Gets rid of the Sven. Now they turn to the Tusk as well. Exceptional individual play once again for the position 3 on Winstrike. And now they can also get rid of the IO afterwards.
That was without the Exorcism. That's crazy that they were able to get that much done there, and goes to show the impact of a lot of these big team fights. Even just the cogs holding them in position for that extra couple of seconds so that you don't get the burst down onto the Death Prophet. I wasn't as enthusiastic about Tusk just running straight in onto the Death Prophet, because that could have potentially been that extra little bit of health that he was returning back through the Spirit Siphon that kept him alive through a lot of this burst coming through from the God Strength on the Sven. Just like that, Wraith King, he was level 15 when Sven was 17. Sven still 17, Wraith King 18.
Wow.
So making things up in a big way. It's just, again, not to take anything away from Dahak, but this is such a brainless hero that you can have a horrible start to the game, and as long as your team makes enough space for you, they and your skeletons are going to be able to bring you straight back into it.
And you were saying once he hits that level 20, his farm's going to continue to skyrocket as well. So we're getting very close to that stage. Lal is also has got 3 points up in the extra. He's actually going to go for a pretty late halberd, but I don't hate it at all.
No, absolutely not. It's a good way to stop the Sven. Is BKB, he just used the first charge then, but quite low. He's been holding onto a broom handle for the longest time on Vitrude. I only just realized that. Just swapping it into the spider legs now, so much more effective.
Radiant are scanning.
All right, here we
now
go.
You can actually get out of that cogs in particular. finding.
Gonna
And they
smoke.
catch out the Mars.
I think they smoke under the ward. Scan actually just a
They also
confirmation.
smoke the Roche pit.
Dire's middle tower.
Gotta
is
keep
under
looking with
attack.
those treants, surely, in the Roche pit.
The confirmation there on the high ground as well.
Gem on the ground. Oh, yeah.
Dire's
They're gonna start the fight again on the death side, but dude, what a two-man stun, just cancel out the life of the supports, but now he's away from no one to act as a bodyguard. So Lesh is also gonna get evaporated. Now they can turn their attention to Aloha Dance as well. 3 gone from Navi. I mean, they might just look to lead this into Roche V-Tune. Oh, he's playing on a sentry. Oh, no, V-Tune stuck around. He got too greedy. He made an individual play, starting the fight, blowing up 2 supports, but he will be the last one to fall, and now Winstrike can lead it into the pit.
At level 20 for Wraith King as well, so it's obviously going to net them this Roshan. It's going to give them the Aghanim shard. I'm going to give this to. I'd consider giving it to Notice. Yeah, I mean, he's been so on point with a lot of his cooldowns, and especially whenever you're coming up against an Io, right? There's always going to be at least 2 heroes balled up in the same sort of position. So if you're able to get 2 people for the price of 1, why not?
What do we feel like is really going wrong for Navi in these fights? Like, what is that one thing that you feel like they need to really change to be able to kind of offstand now the agent's advantage?
No one's just not survivable enough. He's dying so early in a lot of these engagements, even with an Io buffing him up. This is an Io with mech, salve, holy locket, like plenty of things to try and keep you alive. And it's not like no one's squishy either. You know, the plate mail, the eternal shroud, the bloodstone, the essence ring. It's going into a BKB next. It's not horrible, but Exorcism doesn't care about that, and Wraith King doesn't care about that. So I would almost wish that he goes into something like an Aeon Disc, so that you're at least not just wasted at the start of a lot of these engagements.
Aloha Dance, keep running, my friend. Stay for too long.
Making sure to turn off the Ring of Achilles.
I think they saw him. I believe the Rocketfly just gave them some glimpse of information there, so... Well, Tusk, I guess he's making space, and when bottom's being shoved out... It does give time for General now to complete the Bloodthorn, so... A big item for him.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower is under attack.
I mean, no, yeah, they're not too talkative. Aloha Dance, he chucks out a couple of voice lines.
Dire's bottom
Your high ground's about to be under siege.
Radiant's top tower.
Going to do their best to at least clear out this bottom side.
Radiant structure
Value coming out of that cliff, even protecting their own wave. But yeah, like you said, it's just so much to be able to have to go against. And this Wraith King with the AC, Desolator, melts.
Do they give it up though? Tusk's up in a couple of seconds. I don't think V-Tune's going to get another incredible start to the fight like we saw previously as well. Right, they're going to make sure they're in a formation. Exo's about to expire, so you do have to still be a bit cautious of how long you stick around. Notice doesn't give a damn. Jumps in, don't catch out. No one refresh is used as well. So they double arena, making sure there's 0 escape. No buyback on no one. Now Seneko sorts to be able to catch out General. He's going to try and peek him, TP up, but the damage through the roof. Winstrike. Oh my, these team fighting abilities putting such a statement throughout this mid and late game. No one? Okay. Give him a clap.
That's one time. Just gotta wait for that Silver's Edge or Blink Dagger. Do they have any kind of sentry vision up? I don't think they do around this bottom side. So he's gonna go for the long wrap around. Try and catch out that clockwork in particular. Oh, they got the gem though. Noticed has a gem, so he has to be very careful with his positioning here on the Sven.
Radiant's bottom barracks has fallen.
Goldstrike only got a quarter duration left, so
has fallen.
it's like they're just gonna... Cool. Alrighty, 2 full sets of barracks advantage, and we've been bringing up a lot this game how behind kind of Tahak was, but when now he's top of the net worth, level 22, he's gonna have a double damage rune as well for this next team fight.
Brainless team fight. But no, to be completely honest, that was perfect lockdown on the Leshrac, right? Even being healed by an Io during the majority of that, he was chain lockdown from 100 to 0. Did not BKB. He did not Eternal Shroud. He did not Bloodstone. He had nothing that time.
Radiant's middle tower.
A minute left on Aegis, and Exil's going to be up shortly as well. No one. I don't think you can be in this position.
He at least gets his
Solar's
spells
going to come
on.
on over, and now they just evaporate the Hawk. So we see the difference when no one's able to utilize the BKB. Now with a second life as well, the Hawk is going to get brought down, and Lyle's also going to fall as well. So got the Aegis, of course, but they can easily go through the second life here. We're just going to try and provide some assistance. Lyle actually pops an ulti. BKB is going to TP out, actually stands his ground. They want to think about taking the fight. Darko is going to get involved as well to terrorize, maybe giving him some breathing room, but still the Spirit Siphon charges are starting to light, but they haven't gotten rid of the Death Prophet. Helmet back up, and now V2 without the BKB is going to be super cautious of how he takes his team fight. How is DP not dead?
The seeds of fortune.
Brainless hero. Like, just press a bunch of people with a Spirit Siphon. It's been really good plays coming through from Lyle, to be completely honest. And that was without the secondary use of the arena. By the time they're looking to push in, you're going to have double arena. You're going to have Wraith King back alive, and you're going to have Clockwork back alive. So you won't have the Willow, but you might be lacking in a lot, but you've still got plenty of team fight here.
And you do, however, NAVI have a bunch of creeps inside the base, so
That's good.
indeed. And all these buffer buildings slowly being brought down. And okay,
That you now know are called building.
I don't know why they're called building. Come on, they're just lazy stuff, honestly. Any buybacks from Radiant? Not through that fight. Previously they used the Eye on the toss, so both still on cooldown for 4 minutes and a bit.
Nearly picking up his own AC though on the Sven. Getting to that stage where you need to protect your supports from being one-shot. Aloha Dance has a little bit of protection because he's got that Medallion of Courage, but Io kind of feels like a sitting duck. 8 armor. It's not enough.
Do you think they can keep jumping no one? I think once he gets Shivas and now with AC on Sven as well, at least if no one's getting that extra armor, I'm not sure you actually burst through no one. And we saw what happened. Like if he was able to pop BKB relatively early and stand his ground, he does do a ridiculous amount of damage.
I think you might need to change your priority. You got to kill the Wisp instead at the start of a lot of these engagements, and then use the arenas kind of like how I initially viewed them as being used, right? Like you use the first one to bait out a BKB, then you actually engage with the second one after you kill an IO and get a BKB out of a core.
Alright, they're gonna smoke up now. Shot, minor ability. Does have the Aghanims actually, so overclocking potential. Radiant gonna try and take control around their triangle. Some wards down. Oh, he's underneath vision now though, so he's back up to the backline though. They're looking to jump the Clockwork. Baker's gonna end up falling. Nortec once again though, arena enclosing in multiple heroes. He's got the second arena as well with the speed. Finds the eye. They also catch up the Leshrac for the saving support. Plus, will give no one an opportunity to try and get some space with the BKB, but it's not gonna matter. He's already lost way too much health, or has he? V-Tunes in once again. I mean, the plays from NAVI to somehow keep no one alive, but it looks like V-Tune, though, he's gonna need some assistance. The thing is, Leshrac, but he can't really provide that. Spider Legs are gonna pick the TP on the speeds there, though. Oh, they catch him. 3 down, no buyback. Low beyond godlike on the Death Prophet. Game 2, game 3. What a showing from him.
He's been involved in 31 out of 32 kills on this. He is having an insane game. And speaking of no one, he was down to 12 HP before he used that Bloodstone to make sure he was able to survive. I was like, surely he's going to use it now. Surely now. He was getting so close, and he didn't have buyback either. So that would have been an even more convincing teamfight victory for Winstrike, but looking pretty dire for them. NAVI are on the back foot here, maybe being knocked down into the lower bracket as the play-in seed.
Maker, he's trying to find that angle for the hook shot. Last set of barracks left standing. don't have this eye for another couple of seconds to really withstand a lot of the burst potential and keep no one alive. There we go. There's the jump to Hawk. Instantly on top of the cogs as well. They're able to get the snowball, but it's not on no one. They still got time for the BKB. But without reaching for a lot of the burst potential, can they go through the second line for the Race King? No one's still doing a ridiculous amount of AoE DPS, and that is enough to get rid of the Hawk.
Solo came back just in time as well. I think it was the threat of the IO coming through that was the big thing that changed their mind about wanting to fully commit.
What reckon the probability is?
I'm going to say it is based on that reaction.
What reaction did I give, huh?
That was your reaction. Let's say 20% to NAVI. 11. Probably more than a lot of people would expect when you're 2 lanes of barracks down and you haven't even cracked 2 tier 2s.
If NAVI can get next Roche, they're actually going to look to start the fight. Once again, V-Tune trying to cut down the life for Seneko. Oh, he's got an Aeon Disc, BKB, and everything available to go through, and now he's got the Arcane Rune to play with as well. The Hawk really doesn't want to force the buyback out. They're going to try and cancel some TP zone. Force Mage's able to do so. Arena once again onto multiple heroes, but here comes the save to the task. Trying to jump in, offer a little bit of breathing room for no one, and we saw what can happen previously, because V-Tune's going to look to jump in as well as instantly. Both supports cut down. They're trying to turn towards Lal as well. We see how goddamn survivable the death coffin is. Talk yourself away. Oh my. How are they still in this?
They'll be happy to claim this prize though. Lane's also quite pushing. I thought that was going to be an absolute disaster for Navi. General popped the BKB, TP'd out, and he didn't have a way to instantly get back into the team fight, but be a buyback used on the task. Trying to get this over to no one. Yeah.
Who do you give shard to though? I guess V-Tune for...
Yeah.
Will BKB potentially double God strength if the fight gets maybe reinitiate? Law was still full. Holy. 0 deaths.
I wonder what no one's going to go next. I feel like an Ag Shard wouldn't be the worst for
Yeah,
you know, obviously it's good for obviously defending your high ground, but even just sieging, lay it down on top of the Sven and make life a whole lot more challenging for Winstrike.
And it's just something. Also against like Gaia have a lot of these AoE abilities, so if you drop the Split Earth in maybe the Mars ulti, who knows, could catch a hero.
Yep. They only need a couple of seconds to get a lot done.
Dire's middle barracks has fallen.
They're on level 25 as well. The explosions.
They're trying to fix the lanes now though. General TP's all the way back. Who has his actual teleport as the Nature's Prophet, and he's going for a nullifier, wanting to protect against the likes of the Yule Scepter on the Dark Willow in particular. The Aeon Disc on the Death Prophet. Very valuable to be able to just punch on through that.
All right, well, we've speaking a lot about the, aiming down Leshrac and if they're able to burst him. We're kind of seeing how difficult that's been, because Aloha Dance with a lot of his saves throughout this game has been on point. Lol?
Close.
They got smoked, actually.
Win probability, what do you reckon?
Probably like 22 now?
50-50.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. They got a 5,000 net worth lead. Okay.
Still.
I didn't see the net
go
worth.
for the safer play, bottom side. Lane's pushed in. Take the tier 2 tower so you can guarantee megas if you win a team fight. I'm just going to let the creeps do the work, I feel. Not revealing anyone other than no one.
I actually think you're going to kill Paz.
Look at this split.
I was going to get some information. Solo behind. Tries to utilize the Glimmer. Once again.
Oh, he saved him again.
Tusk's going to fly on over. So now the first arena is going to be completely wasted. Solo's going to refresh up the resources thanks to the cheese. But still, I mean, with this Ghost Scepter, it's making it so difficult to get rid of the IO. They're putting a lot of emphasis on the sport. They will cut him down. But now, how did Navi play this second round? It's towards the top side to Hawk. He's already utilized the reincarnation, the BKB as well, so all eyes on low. That's the big X factor for them to bring it back in, but again, Tusker, this snowball just giving him more and more breathing room to go up aggressive onto the high ground. It's the heart continuing to stand his ground, but V-Tune secures the kill. But can he get out with his life though? Force Major, one use of the Shadow Realm will bring down the position one. The buyback for the Mazo.
Standing on top of a gem.
Yeah,
He's standing on top of a gem.
Oh, Sven's even buying back too. I mean, they've got no outposts.
They stole the gem back.
Wait, what's going on with this gem?
Dire's bottom
So
tower
no one
is
was
under
literally
attack.
standing on top of it, and they brought in a super speed courier with protection on it.
So jump behind. Oh, this is really valuable. If they can get rid of the low hard dance, this has been the big reason why they've turned the fights, but inside the base, General, I bet it's TP'd without any assistance. They backed off to try and keep the Tusk alive. Betrayed the supports. Oh, look at these buybacks.
Only one person has buyback. It's Lesh.
Off the mark. I mean, Exo's about to expire as well, and he did use the refresher shortly afterwards. That's up as well. Solo's going to TP, and now they're going to try and target on the TP. Who doesn't have a buyback? The first death, mainly the only death of this game. It could cost Winstrike this series with 2 down, not having buybacks. They might just look to end it. Yeah, V-Tune's going for the GG call.
He's got half the duration left on the God Strength, still 20 seconds away. You got to throw your body in the way, but could you even give up in this situation?
No, I'm at 240 down, throw down as well, and Navi. 2 full sets of barriers.